in today's class, I'm going to teach you a very important biology topic. So the chapter is from class 11 CBSE. So the chapter name is Digestion and Absorption. So in today's class, we are going to deal with a specific topic called digestion of food. So in previous classes, we already learned exactly how the alimentary canal will look like and what are the different organs present in alimentary canal. So in today's class, we are exactly going to learn what happens to the food that enters our body. So we take a lot of food in our day-to-day life. Right from the morning breakfast to the evening dinner, we take a lot of food. So what happens to the food that enters our body? Yes, we are going to deal with this in today's lesson. So we saw about the digestive system. Under this, we saw about the alimentary canal, right? So alimentary canal, this is a familiar word that you might be hearing from your 8th standard. So alimentary canal involves various organs, mouth, esophagus, to the rectum and anus. So we dealt with these organs in the previous class. And also, along with the alimentary canal, there are some associated digestive glands, right? So we saw a lot of digestive glands in our previous class, and we also saw some of the functions and the structure of those glands exactly and where it is present, right? So in today's class, we are going to learn exactly how the digestion of food takes place. Basically, digestion of food we can study in two parts. The first part is mechanical digestion. So mechanical digestion, when you hear about mechanical digestion, it is a digestion process where physical movements are involved, right? So basically under mechanical digestion, the first one is chewing. So where do we chew? Exactly, in our mouth. So chewing takes place in our mouth. So with the help of teeth and tongue, we chew the food properly. So we break down the complex food into simpler food items, right? And next, there is another place where mechanical digestion takes place. That is in the stomach. So there we don't call as chewing, we call it as churning. Okay. So here we saw how the stomach will look like, right? So it will look somewhat like this. So here the stomach layer will be coming to and fro so that the food is properly mixed thoroughly with the juices present in the stomach. So this is one type of mechanical digestion taking place in our body. So this is about mechanical digestion. Next, coming to the chemical digestion. So what do you mean by chemical digestion? Here, chemicals are involved. Yeah, chemicals are involved. So basically, whenever we discuss about chemical digestion, here digestive enzymes are involved. So if you ask what do you mean by enzymes, these are the catalysts. So catalysts in the sense, these protein-made catalysts enhance the rate of reaction. So I would say the catalyst which is present in our body, which is made of protein, those are called as enzymes. So for different reactions in our body, I won't say there is only one kind of enzyme. There are different kinds of enzymes. Okay. So even in digestion process, for different reactions, different enzymes are involved for the digestion process. So for example, salivary amylase, we can say, and intestinal enzymes are present, pancreatic enzymes are present, lot of enzymes are present. We'll be studying about those in detail whenever it is discussed. Okay. So this is the two major processes, mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. Now let us understand how digestion takes place in different parts of the alimentary canal. Okay. So first, digestion in mouth. So basically, here in digestion, in mouth, there is the two major processes involved, mechanical digestion and chemical. First, we'll study about mechanical digestion. So here, basically, we chew the food and we mix the food thoroughly. We break the food by chewing it and we mix the food thoroughly by chewing it. So we call this process as mastication. Okay. mastication. Why? Because this is where the food is mixed completely with the saliva. The food is mixed thoroughly with the saliva. So the saliva will be adhering to the food particles. Okay. So why this is happening? Because it facilitates the swallowing process. So the solid particle as such cannot be passed down to your stomach. So it has to be lubricated, right? Lubricated in the sense for easy passage. Okay. For easy passage. For example, if you put oil and close the door, there won't be any sound, right? In the same way, saliva, if it is mixed thoroughly, food which is mixed thoroughly with the saliva will be easily passed down to your stomach. Okay. So to facilitate the swallowing process, mechanical digestion will be happening here. Next, what happens is the chemical digestion. Okay. So before that, we will understand how what is the exact passage or what is the exact pathway from the mouth to the stomach. Okay. So in buccal cavity, so here we won't call the pizza as pizza. So in scientific terms, pizza here it is completely masticated, right, with the saliva. So we call this food item as bolus, whatever it may be, whether it is your pizza, cake, rice, whatever it may be, it is completely masticated with saliva. So now it is called as bolus. So in the buccal cavity, it is called as bolus. Now what happens? It is sent down to the pharynx. Pharynx is the passage between the esophagus. Esophagus is the food pipe, right? Esophagus is the food pipe. So between the food pipe and buccal cavity is the pharynx. So first the bolus is passed down to the pharynx, and from pharynx it is passed down to the esophagus, to the food pipe. How? Can you recall how? Yeah, from your daily life process, we chew normally, right? We chew normally, chew. And what happens? Immediately after chewing, we swallow. We swallow it. Yeah, so here, through swallowing, we send the bolus to the esophagus. That is also called as deglutition. Okay, swallowing. So we swallow the food and the bolus enters the esophagus. Now from the esophagus, where it has to enter? Yeah, to the stomach. Now, can it enter just like that? No. So there is some movement. So the esophagus. So for example, this is the esophagus. That is a food pipe. So this is a food particle. So the esophagus muscle will move to and fro so that the food particle goes down to the stomach. Okay. So those movements are called as peristaltic movements, or the movement is peristalsis. Okay. Now the food enters the stomach. So this is the overview or the pathway of how the food enters the stomach. Now let us understand the chemical digestion that takes place in mouth. So we saw the main important role is played by the saliva. So what does this saliva, this fluid contain? This is not just normal water. Saliva contains lot of electrolytes. What do you mean by electrolytes? Lot of chemical ions. For example, Na+, K+, Cl- and carbonate, bicarbonate ions. So these are the electrolytes present in the saliva. And also it contains some very important enzymes. The first enzyme is salivary amylase. So salivary amylase. Okay. So we can also call this enzyme as carbohydrate splitting enzyme. So the food you take in also has carbohydrate inside it, right? So the first process of breaking down of carbohydrates takes place in your stomach with the help of salivary amylase. So carbohydrate, we can also call it as starch. So maximum 30% starch is hydrolyzed in your mouth. Okay. So with the help of salivary amylase, 30% is broken down here. Okay. Yeah. So next, the another enzyme present is lysozyme. Another enzyme present is lysozyme. So this is an antibacterial agent. So it prevents the infection. So it prevents the bacteria entering inside your mouth. Okay. So these two enzymes are very important for your digestion process. Okay. So there is some optimal conditions required for this digestion which is taking place in your mouth. So the pH is optimum pH is 6.8. So what happens here? Inside your mouth, in a simple process, we can say starch, that is a carbohydrate, is converted into simpler carbohydrate called as maltose with the help of salivary amylase, which acts only with the optimum pH 6.8. Okay. So now let us understand what happens in the stomach, digestion in stomach. So we already know what are the different layers of stomach. So the mucosa layer has some glands associated with it called as gastric glands. It is called as gastric glands. So these gastric glands has three types of cells. Okay. So the first type of cell is mucus nexus. So what does this do? It secretes mucus, which is a different type of liquid. Okay. It secretes mucus. And another type of cell is peptic or chief cell. Peptic or chief cells. What does this do? It secretes the proenzyme, which is pepsinogen. What do you mean by proenzyme? Proenzyme means inactive form. Okay, inactive form of enzyme. So pepsinogen is inactive here. So it secretes the inactive pepsinogen. Okay. And what does this parietal or oxyntic cells do? It secretes the HCl. So we already learned about this, right? So we know that HCl is present in our stomach. So which secretes this? Parietal or oxyntic cells secretes HCl. So these are the different cells that secretes different products. So what does these products will do? Yeah, we'll understand this. So these are the different materials which is present in a very liquid called as gastric juice. We call this juice as gastric juice. So the bolus which came down from your buccal cavity to the stomach is now mixed with the gastric juice. Now it is not anymore called as bolus. It is now called as chyme. It is now called as chyme. Okay. So now the food is again mixed with the gastric juice completely with the help of churning movements of stomach. I already said, right? Now it is called as chyme. So this chyme is again ready for further digestion. So before that, we need to understand what is the function of the pepsinogen and HCl. So pepsinogen, I already said, it is an inactive enzyme. So this enzyme has to be activated. So we'll see what is the use of activation here. So pepsinogen, which will be activated by HCl, hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid in our stomach activates the pepsinogen and it is converted into active form which is called as pepsin enzyme. Okay. So this pepsin enzyme is very important. So this is a proteolytic enzyme. This is a proteolytic enzyme. Proteolytic in the sense which breaks down proteins of the which is present in the food. So already carbohydrate is little bit broken down. Now proteins is also broken down. So proteins are converted into proteoses and peptones. So this is what happens in the digestion. So maximum the food is stored for 4 to 5 years. After this, the chyme is again passed to the small intestine. So I think up to this you have understood whatever I have explained you. If you have any doubts, we will discuss in the next class. Thank you, children.